All right, welcome to another episode of Embrace the Suck with your host Benny. Today I have Lamont Cordell with us, somebody that I've been following for quite a while, like probably like almost a year. And I gotta tell you, man, this is probably one of the most busiest dudes I've ever met in my life. It's been like a year that I've been trying to get this dude on the podcast. He's either traveling, he's with family, he's on leave, he's doing something. But at the end of the day, though, I'm glad to have you on because I had you on live on my Instagram a while back and we got into an awesome conversation, but we had to kind of cut it short. So I wanted to have you back on the actual show of Embrace the Suck. So without further ado, welcome Lamont Cordell. Tell us who you are, man, and we'll get into the conversation, brother.
Man, first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me onto your podcast, brother. It's an honor and a pleasure. And again, I apologize for being so elusive. I tell people this all the time, man. It's a character flaw. I'm working on it. However, Lamont Hicks is my real name. Cordell is my middle name. I told you this, I think last time we talked, I use Cordell. That way, if any kind of slander comes my way, they use my name and they don't discredit my family at all, But I joined in 2008. Had no intentions on joining the Marine Corps at all whatsoever. I was a legit AC, so area canvas for those that don't know what it is. So a recruiter legit stopped me walking down the street and started preaching the gospel to me. And I look at it, and 14 years later, here I am. So recruiting duty holds a special place in my heart because of that experience in itself. So that's what kind of led me to where I am now, man. I joined in 2008. I have only, I think as a sergeant was the first time that I attempted to go on recruiting duty, but that was always the plan for me.
Oh wow, okay. So from the jump, you already had that plan, like, hey, I'm gonna give back to the community and change that other person's life that like mine got changed. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
So I know that, and this is something I kind of want to talk about because I've never really asked this or really gotten into this. But what was your experience with your recruiter? Because it sounds like that was part of what made you want to become a recruiter and later on in life. So what was your experience like? Was it a good experience? Was this dude like suavemente? Like what was going on with that?
Man, so honestly, my experience with my recruiter he wasn't smooth at all. He wasn't this like he didn't come with all the information and deliver it in this fantastic way. More or less what was happening is at the time when he seen me walking down the street, I was headed to fill out an application. I was going to fill out a Walmart application. I had recently found out that I was getting ready to have a kid, and I told myself I needed to find a way to take care of that kid. So I told myself, this was going to be the way. And granted, it probably wouldn't provide what I needed. And by fate, recruiter stops me as I'm walking, tries to talk me into it. I tell him, no, it's not for me. My people have always told me that nobody of color belongs in the military. So that was always my mindset. So I was like, no, I'm good. Well, he stopped me a second time on the way home after I got denied entry into the library. And he was like, hey, brother, it must be fate. You mind talking to me now? And I'm like, what is it, man? Like, let's do it. So we go talk. And honestly, I heard all the benefits, everything that you could take advantage of. And it sounded too good to be true. It's all of it sounded too good to be true. I'm like, there's no way that everything that you're telling me is legitimately balled up into one establishment. And if all I have to do is sacrifice 4 years in order to see if that's a real life thing, that's a high school, term. That's your high
Yeah,
school
yeah,
degree. I was like, I'm willing to do that. And
yeah.
that was more or less what happened. He was talking to me. I heard the benefits, and I was like, I'm willing to take the shot, and I did.
So now do you think it was part of the way that he just spoke to you? Like was it the way, because a lot of people, like when I was on recruiting duty, a lot of people that would never join, I just broke it down to him Barney style, and I made it like, bro, it's an offer you can't refuse. Like why would you say no? And like what I did, is I would always ask people like, what's important to you? Like at the end of the day, like yeah, using the benefit tags, all that good stuff. But what I would do is I would ask them, like, hey man, what is success to you? And I would ask them, hey, paint me a picture of what success looks like. And then they would tell me, oh, success is this, and the third. And then I would say, okay, well, how are you going to get there right now without the Marine Corps? Put that aside, make believe you're just sitting here, me and you pointing out a plan for your life. How do you get there? and then all they write down on the piece of paper is college, job, and like some other shit. And I'm like, okay, so you got 2 things and that's it? That's your whole entire plan? And I'm like, all right, stop me there. I'm like, let me ask you this question. If you were going to Florida tomorrow, what would you pack? Like, give me a list of things you would pack. And they start giving me rattling off list. I'm like, okay, now what else would you do? Well, I got to find out how I'm going to travel there. Okay. I got to find out where am I going to stay. I got to find out all these different things. And then I look at them and I'm like, bro, hold on. So I ask you what success looks like and how you're going to get there. You give me 2 things. I ask you how you get into Florida. You give me a whole entire itinerary and you plan out a whole entire trip in less than 5 minutes. I was like, don't you think there's something wrong there? I was like, now let me show you how the Marine Corps can make you successful by doing X, Y, and Z. And then I would literally just show them their plan on the left, which is not a plan. And then I would show them the Marine Corps plan on the right-hand side. And I would say, hey, man, which one of the 2 do you want? And then they'd be like, oh, hands down, I want that one. And then when they wouldn't commit, I'd be like, bro, whoa. What happened? You just told me a second ago that you wanted to be Sergeant so-and-so. And that's what I would do too. I would put their name on the left side, and I would write Mr. Cordell. And then on the right side, I would write Sergeant Cordell. And then I'd say, hey man, who do you want to be, Mr. Cordell or Sergeant Cordell? And they would always be like, oh, I want to be the sergeant. But then when it came down to the punches, I'd be like, bro, so what are we gonna do about it? Oh, well, my mom, my girl, my dad. I'm like, bro, at the end of the day, who can you blame when you don't become successful? None of those people matter at that point, bro. You're not gonna look at your mom and be like, Mom, you told me not to join. No, you're just gonna freaking, it was you, bro. And that was a lot of what I did. Was I took recruiting duty and I took the benefit tags and I just made it into this most simplistic term that just made it so understandable and so relatable. Because I think that, and I talked about this in a other episode, that some people, Gunny Ramos, Alberto brought it up. He was like, bro, some people just don't understand how to translate what we do as Marines, and they don't understand that part, and that's why they can't get kids to want to be Marines. Like, not sell them, but it's just they have that lack of translation. And it, like, what was your way? Like, how did you get committals? Like, what was your way that you found that worked out for you?
So to answer your original question, I honestly think that my recruiter may have touched the button on being able to take care of my daughter in order to get me over the edge. And for me, it was very big that I was a constant presence in my daughter's life because I had a dad that was not present. So I wanted to make sure that I was. And as I almost distinctively remember and always pushing the, hey, your daughter, you can take care of your daughter this way. So he probably did use a little MC3 on me, and it worked in his favor. Now for me, a lot of what I would do more or less is similar to what you would do, and you break it down as much as possible. There's no complexity to this, because ultimately speaking, you're offering something, an offer that can't be refused. And the only thing you have to do is be able to find out what it is that intrigues them about it and deliver it to them in a digestible form for that individual in particular. You can't one size fits all and just hand the same information to everybody. And my biggest thing is most objections always were my family, my girlfriend, my this, my that. And I always used to explain to them, if you're talking about your family, they've already made their mistakes. They've done everything that they did or wanted to do in order to get to where they are now. And now that they have done all of that, they're trying to use your life to make more mistakes. So tell me where you see the wrong in this.
Bro, my man. And you know what? I love that because I would point that out to people. And I would even point that out. Like, some people didn't like the way that I did things, because I had one of my recruiters just recently called me at like 10 o'clock at night. He was like, yo, I haven't talked to him in months. He was like, yo, I gotta thank you. I was like, what's up? He's like, bro, you taught me how to deal with parents. And I was like, I know I did. And I was like, so what happened? He was like, bro, he was like, so the mom was all good with it, which never happens, right? But the mom was all good with it. And the father was like, he said 6'2", 350 pounds, like this overbearing, like big dude. And he was like telling the kid, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't be a Marine. And you can't. So, like I told him, the recruiter looked at the father and said, sir, what kind of example are you setting for your son right now? He was like, your son has come out of his way, out of his shell, to pick these three benefit tags that say self times three and pride of belonging. He's trying to have something, but you're not letting him. You're telling him that he can't do this. Why? He was like, why are you doing that? He was like, maybe you couldn't have done it, but this young man, your son, wants to prove to you that he can. And that's exactly what I taught him, because I would show him all the time. Like the first parents we dealt with, mom, bro, I've seen so many staff in CICs that when parents come into it, they want to just play this coy game. And it's like, bro, at the end of the day, that's the only person that's going to get that kid to be able to sign. Without mom and dad, you can't do nothing. So at the end of the day, you have to attack that disinterest right off the bat. Like when I sit down, I don't give a shit about nothing else besides, why don't you want him to join? Tell me right now, because I know there's something about it that you're not about. So let's talk about that right now. And then I'm going to be able to address those disinterests, and I'm gonna get you on my side. Because a lot of times when we find those disinterests, it's very easy to be like, oh, wait a minute, that's not even a real thing. Like that's a misconception. Like, no, that's not at all. Oh shit, you know what? Hey, you're right. Station commanders, not staff at COSCs. Ever. Yo, I like that. Yo, I don't know who you are. It just says Facebook user, but hey, you're right. And that's the truth right there. And that's the thing about it, bro. There's so many station commanders out there that literally they don't command that presence. And when the parents come in the room, now the parents are controlling the office vibe. It's like, no, this is my office. And we have to be able to talk to these parents and let them know, like, hey, listen, like your son wants to do this but it's also because, and I want your opinion on this. Oh, it is Master Gunny Pat. Yo, what up, Master Guns? Yo, Master Guns did change my life, bro. He's the reason why I joined the Marine Corps. I read. So he was the staff and CIC of my office.
Station commander,
bro. That crap, I did it again. He was the station commander. My bad, Master Guns, I'll push. But bro, and that's the thing. So you have to be able to, if you don't build a good enough rapport, then you should find these things out in the interview process that, hey, my mom feels this way about this. My dad feels this way about this. So that when you meet the mom and dad, this isn't the first time you found out about what the disinterest is going to be. Because if it is, then you did a horrible interview. Like you did a horrible job, talking about the motivators. Like you found a horrible job doing, finding the needs. So like if you're not doing your job up front, that's why when people tell me, oh, that benefit tags aren't helpful, I'm like, bro, you're out of your bird. You just don't know how to use them. Like if you say benefit tags are not helpful, you just do not know how to do a benefit tag presentation. That's just the reality of it. So,
a lot of what I've realized when it comes to parents is some people they start to enter an experience where they had experiences with their parents where they got to back down. So they don't realize that you're an adult speaking to an adult. So regardless, the playing field is level, regardless of whether they're a parent or not. And to be honest, one of the best pieces of advice, and I really can't remember who it was that told me, and I wish I could, but they told me you can't lose what you don't already have. So when it comes to getting to the heart of the issues, you may offend somebody, but in you're offending someone, you also may solve the issue that was there in the first place. So you kind of have to play tongue in cheek with the parents and get a little touchy to where they may get offended or get not to the point where you got a wrong turn, but to the point where you make them look in the mirror and realize, okay, this is what you just did. Like you said, your boy did. You are telling your kid he's not capable of something. Maybe that's an insecurity that you have that you're now attaching to your son, and you are potentially hindering his growth. Let this young man grow, and not only that, carry your family name further than you've already held the torch for this long. And that's what I used to do with parents too. I used to give them their roses while we're sitting there. You've carried the torch to this point. I guarantee you that you've worked hard to get your kids everything that they have and what they need and what they want. Your son is trying to take the next step in order for that torch to go even further than what it is that you've already led them. And the parents, once they get wrapped in, man, it's from there to dub.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And that's a lot of what I would do too. I would be like, or like that's how I would start the conversation, like sitting on the back porch with them, like want wherever they want to be comfortable at. And I'm like, listen, first of all, I gotta tell you, Johnny, he's a great kid. Johnny's doing great things. That's volume, and that speaks about what you've done in his life. And I want to just thank you for that. And and then talking about that, right? And I for instance, and I've shared this story before, but I had a kid where the kid wanted to be Marine Recon, and his benefit tags were pride of belonging, self ×3, and leadership management. So it was my recruiter's first time ever being out there. I was still a recruiter. I was the A gunner, but my boy Morales was his first time I ever seen an interview conducted. I brought him to the house to get PCs, and I just went all in. And I was doing the benefit tag presentation interview at the dinner table. And I'm sitting here controlling the situation, and mom is like, I think you need to calm down. And I was like, I'm sorry. She was like, yeah, the way that you're speaking to my son, I think we need to calm down with it. And the dad was just sitting there like, he was like loving it. He was like, bro, I'm loving this. And I looked at his mother and I was like, well, ma'am, I was like, ma'am, listen, if you want me to leave, I can go ahead and leave. I was like, but right now, your son, if you see these 3 things that he put down here, he wants someone to lead him. He wants somebody to have these tough conversations with him. And that's why I'm asking him these tough questions, ma'am. And I was like, you're not going to get that anywhere else, ma'am. And I was like, if I can do this in front of you, sitting across from me at the table, then I would hope that you would think that you could trust me, because I'm not having this conversation with you not here, because I'm just having a real grown man-to-man, Marine to Marine. Like, he wants to be a Marine, man. This is how he's going to be spoken to in boot camp. If he does make it to recon, this is how he's going to be spoken there. So, like, if I were to speak to him any other way, that I would be doing him an injustice. And the mom was like, you know what, I can respect that. And the father was like, yeah. And and that dude's a Marine now. He's a scout sniper. But but the reality of it is, though, is that, like, when I went into these situations, I was like, bro, I'm a Marine. And that's what I think a lot of people forget, is that like, bro, like, we're Marines, and you're going into these interviews, you're going into these class talks, you're going into these conversations as if you're not one. And it's like, you have to control the situation. You have to, speak eloquently. You have to speak and have the information. You have, like, Master Gunn said, that kukumu. You got to be clear, complete, mutual understanding. And I think that's a lot of what's going on, is that Marines just don't understand that part. And I don't know if it's that we're just not doing enough training on it, but, like, what are your thoughts on that? And what advice do you have to kind of, like, to make sure that the conversations being guided the right way, and making sure that those families feel comfortable with you at being that son or daughter's recruiter?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Training is key in a lot of that stuff, because regardless of how goofy it feels to sit across from your brothers and sisters that are also recruiters and have those conversations and have them try to contest you, the more comfortable you are with, responding to those instances, the more likely it is that you offer information, or you don't get, swayed in any direction or another because you got hit with a question that you weren't ready for. And you'd be surprised how, if you do it repetitively enough, that it starts to not be awkward. It more or less starts to be like a tit for tat. This is a battle. We're trying to learn here, and let's make it happen. It's almost as, and I don't want to compare it to war or battle, but it's almost the equivalent to Spartans fighting each other all the time. They fight each other because they're sharpening each other. And they know that if they're kicking each other's ass, then they don't have to worry about nobody else, stepping on their ground.
Yeah, and it's exactly. It's like doing your battle drills. It's like doing all these things because eventually, like a reason why Marine recruiters, one, don't like MC3, and two, don't like using benefit tags is because they're not good at doing either one of them. Like when you see all these comments on social media, like, oh, benefit tags are trash. No, you just don't know how to use them, and you were never taught how, or you didn't take the training you got to actually make it work. Because if you legitimately, I'm telling you right now, like to this day, even though I haven't been on recruiting duty in over a year, I could benefit tag the hell out of somebody, and today I could get you a freaking same day NWA going on deck tomorrow. Like I don't give a damn because I taught myself. I had people teach me, but what I did though was I took what they did and I perfected it in my own way. And that's the biggest problem, is that people aren't learning how to do it their way. You have to do it Benny. You have to do it Benny's way if you're Benny. If you're Lamont, do it Lamont's way. I'm not saying don't do MC3 the way that it was created to do. I'm not saying that. But you have to be able to put your little Sassone on it or whatever the hell it is. You have to be able to take it and make it your own, because everybody knows when they're getting sold. But if you know how to do the work and speak the work and do it the right way, and you're also being a loving person, you want to take care of these kids, like that's the biggest problem, bro, is if you use MC3, but you don't really care about changing this kid's life, then it doesn't matter. But if you know how to use all three together in unison, then you're going to destroy the duty.
I think that's facts. That's facts. And you, again, man, like you have to use all of that in conjunction with one another, including the fact that you care. You have to, people don't know how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's that.
Wow. Bro. Whew. Yo, I want just quick, because we're gonna make this we're gonna do another episode. We're gonna do an episode 2. But just because I really want you guys to be able to just digest this one, and then come at us with more questions, and then we're gonna do another one at a later time. But what are your last thoughts? Hold on, let me read this comment. I'm assuming this is still Master Guns. Must identify a true need. Must understand who is your competition in that prospect's life. Chase the relationship, not the contract. Be yourself with a Marine mentality. Bro, that right there is why Marines have an issue. And that's an issue that Marines have. Like, how many times you hear, oh, 8412 is this, 8412 is that. Bro, listen to me. At the end of the day, you need to be a person and a Marine at the same time. Remember where you came from. Remember your story. Remember what you've been through. And that's why people naturally, bro, I have kids to this day who never joined the Marine Corps, and they'll sit there and be like, oh, I didn't join the Marine Corps because of him. I didn't join the Marine Corps because of him. I'm like, yeah, okay. But then there's Marines who've told me, if you were not the asshole that you were, I would have never joined the Marine Corps. And that's just who I was. That's who I am personally. I'm an asshole, but I care. I'm an elegant asshole, right? And that's the thing about it, is that, like, I'm going to be an asshole, but I want you to know that I care for you. And I'm being an asshole because I care for you. And I'm going to tell you suck. And I'm going to tell you you're not going to win. And I'm going to tell you that's a shitty plan. Because if I don't tell you it's a shitty plan, then you're going to go on living the shitty plan. That's stupid. So I'm going to tell you that is not going to work. Not because of your motivation, not because of your leadership. No, just because it's not a sound plan. So let's change that and make it a sound plan. And that's when, because of the way that you're talking to people, because of the work that you're doing, people are naturally going to want to come to your office. People are going to naturally want to. Bro, people will say, you know what? I'm not going to go to that RSS because I know Bennett's in this RSS, or I know Lamont's in this RSS. I'm going to go to that office, drive 2.5 hours, because I know that he's not a recruiter. He's a Marine.
Man, I'm not going to sit here and act like every kid that I ever talked to enlisted, because we all know that's never the case, right? I have had kids who joined other branches after we had conversations, and everybody's gonna, oh, he lost his cell, blah blah blah. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I've had kids who joined other branches but referred their friends to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why they joined the other branches because there was something specific to them that they wanted from that branch. Only that branch offered.
Yeah.
And I had a kid, he ended up joining the Air Force. He's like, listen, honestly, my Air Force recruiter compared to you, trash. But they have what I want, so that's where I'm going. But
Yeah.
he used to bring his friends
Yeah.
in to come and talk to me.
And that's the thing, though, is that you preserve the relationship. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about doing. They'll get on. And I'll be honest, I've been there. You know, I've been that dude who's like, oh, that dude's a bit. But then I've also realized, like, I'm also the dude, though, that, like, when I tell you, hey, man, you're going to join the army, you're going to hate the army. When I see you later on in life and you hated the army, I'm going to be like, yo, remember that time I told you you're going to hate your life? Yeah, I remember that shit. And then you're like, oh, I don't remember you. No. I love it. But that's the reality of it, though. You know, preserve that relationship, be able to talk to the young man, be like, listen, man, at the end of the day, you know what? If you believe that the Marine Corps is not for you, that's fine, bro. And not everybody's meant to be in the Marine Corps, and maybe that other branch is a better option for you. That's fine. But that's also going to show the family and the parents that value. It's going to preserve that relationship. Even the educators, eventually, educators are going to start being like, hey, why is the Marine Corps recruiter so different than everybody else? And then those teachers, and that's what it's all about, is preserving that relationship and not becoming this nasty individual that no one wants to be around, because that happens too.
That's factual. That's factual. And I think that the way that one thing that I realized while on the duty is that we could go anywhere solo. And I remember being at my school, there was 3 Army recruiters to one of my schools, but I was always up there by myself. But the way that it seemed as if they conducted business is they're there to, I'm here to handle business. That's it. Nothing. I used to go and chop it up with the counselors. I used to chop it up with the assistant principals, with everybody that would just, sit down and talk with me.
Yeah.
I'm having a conversation with y'all. And yes, eventually I may ask y'all for something, more than likely, but ultimately speaking, I'm here as a liaison between your students, the people that you care about, and my establishment, which could potentially provide them some type of success. And I'm not saying it's the only avenue to success, but it is another avenue that what they're not typically offered. And that was more important to me than anything, is saying, like, put your options on the table, lay them out, and really take into consideration what all is at your disposal. And once you have done that, if you choose to go somewhere else, by all means, you know what? Hopefully you find success in it. But at least hear what we have to say.
Yeah. And and that's exactly how I would put it too. Because a lot of times when people would be like, oh, I'm not interested, I'll be like, okay, well, interested in what? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that even mean, bro? Oh, am I interested? Like, okay, I'm like, bro, listen to me. How much do you know about it? How much do you know about the Marine Corps? Like, if you literally took it out of your mind right now and like, hey, put it up to a percentage, they'd be like, oh, like 5%. I'd be like, okay, so let me ask you this question there, brother. Would you ever make a decision based off of 5% of the information? Oh, hell no. That'd be dumb. That's stupid. Okay, exactly, bro. Why are you making a decision that's going to change the rest of your entire life? Oh, I'm not interested. You don't know enough to be interested. All I'm trying to do is sit down with you and be able to educate you on a lifetime of opportunity. And if you take that moment to just talk with me and you decide at the end of that moment that you don't want to be a Marine, bro, I'm cool with that. That's fine. But at least in that moment, you know that you took an opportunity to learn more and to be able to figure it out. Now, mind you, I'm not saying, hey, you're just coming in to get information. I'm not saying that. That's a totally different thing. But I'm saying, hey, listen, brother, I'm going to show you how the Marine Corps can change your life and make you successful. Why would you not do that? Yeah, you're right. Da, da, da. And now boom, and now I'm finding all those things out, because a lot of times that's what happens is you ask a kid, you start talking to him, you chopping it up on the phone or ACing, whatever it is, and the kid's like, nah, bro, I'm good, I'm not interested. And then you go, okay, and you walk away. And then you tell your boss or you tell yourself, oh, I don't have appointments for tomorrow because no one was interested. Well, yeah, no shit. You didn't even try. Like, you were just like, oh, okay.
I legit have a young lady in the Marine Corps right now who, upon the initial phone call, was like, you know what? I'm set. I'm well off. The job that I'm working is paying me decent. My car is paid off. I'm going to college right now. All this good stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I understand all that. And I'm not trying to take away from that. But, there's nothing wrong with exploring your options. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with at least hearing what it is that we have to offer. And that was it. And now she's a Marine. she's a Marine, she's doing well, she's loving what
Yeah.
she's got going on. But you can't remove yourself just because they sound like they got it together,
Yeah.
or they think that they're not interested. You know,
Yeah.
it takes a
Bro.
little more digging than that.
Yeah, bro, your job doesn't start until the first no. Like that's it. Like at the end of the day, bro, and that's what I loved. Like when people ask me, like, you know, and we'll talk about this for your next episode because I know you're gonna go on a second tour and you want to get back on these streets. But like a lot of the reasons why I loved recruiting duty was because it was invigorating. When someone told me no, I was like, bro, you're gonna become a Marine, bro. And then I'm gonna remind you of the time that you told me no. Like when a parent tells me hell no, I'm like, no. You're gonna be at boot camp calling me crying, saying thank you for changing my son's life. Like that was as soon as I heard no, I was like, let's go. Like that was the stuff that, but other people, when they hear no, they're like, oh yeah, you know, I tried, and, you know, and it's just like, no, man, like you have to put in every single effort to change this young man or woman's life. And it's not about the contract, it's not about nothing else besides changing their lives. Because like, bro, I bumped into, you know, one of my Marines today. I haven't seen him in 5 years. He joined them. Well, he wasn't mine, but he came out of our RSS, and he joined the Marine Corps 5 years ago. He got out. He went intel, and I saw him today. I gave him a huge hug. I saw him at the mall, and I was like, "Bro, how have you been?" Da da da. He's like, "Bro, I got unfortunately, he got 100% VA disability, and because he got something wrong with his back, and but bro, he's 22 years old, has 100% disability, and now he's about to go to college. He's got all the benefits, and it's like, bro, he's 22 years old, bro."
And it was the time that you took to graduate high school.
Yeah, and he's chilling, and it's like, bro, like what he's doing with his life. And he came up to me, he was like, "Yo, how you been? Sorry, I haven't kept in touch." He's like, "But it's good to be home, and you know, we'll get together." Da da da. And that's what was great about it. He didn't just look at me and be like, "Oh shit." So you know that's what it is, man. You're out here. If you're on recruiting duty right now, no matter how bad the days are, remember that you are changing people's lives one day at a time, and you are making a difference. No matter how, I get it, the hours suck. You're not home with your family. F ma'am, J jazz, all those cool acronyms. Stop making excuses and just literally do the work and care about people, and the contracts will come. If you build it, they will come. Yo, what last thoughts do you have? And we'll end it here, and then we got a part 2 coming for you guys.
Man, in the same vein as what you said, act as if what you do matters, because it really does. Because if I hadn't ran into the recruiter that I did, who knows where my life would be. And I always take that energy into every interaction that I have and every relationship that I build. I look at it and I say, you know what this interaction that I'm having with this young man or young woman is possibly putting them on a path, that the same path that I fell into, and I don't know where I'd be if it weren't for this. So I'm grateful. I'm forever grateful. And we'll talk about it in part 2, but that's part of the reason why I want to go back, man, is I know that there's no better there's no better feeling than making sure that you're giving. And this is a form of giving, is exactly what you're doing.
Wow. Amen, bro. Amen, bro. I couldn't think of a better way to end that. There's no better form of giving, bro. And that's just the truth, because at the end of the day, you know, whether you're religious or not, what are we here to do? We are here to give to people. That's all we're here to do. Everybody wants to take. We got to give back. We got to, and to the Marine Corps that has given you everything you have, and that's something that I think people don't think about, is like Master Gun said. He said, I changed his life. Damn right you did, Master Guns, because if it wasn't for you, I was going to walk out of that door, because that recruiter was really not the best recruiter, and his word game was not that great. And if it wasn't for you, I probably would have joined the Marine Corps. But because of that interaction, because of that recruiter meeting me in Quick Check, because of you being the station commander at that time, all of those things worked together. And now here I am 13 years later, 3 kids, got a house. Everything I have is because of the Marine Corps. So if the Marine Corps did
the moment that we're having right now, this conversation
amen,
place if that were not an interaction.
Amen. Exactly. And that's the point about it, man, is that you, no matter how, if you're on recruiting duty and life sucks right now, no matter how minuscule you feel, because I know that when I was on the duty, I felt like, bro, I ain't nothing. I'm not doing nothing. you have to think about the reality that you are changing people's lives, even if it's just one person, even if that person never contracts and you just had a good conversation with them, even that kid who's permanently disqualified, who can't join the Marine Corps, if you had a no shit life changing conversation with that person and they never joined the Marine Corps, you still did something that changed someone's life. And that's the part about it that you really got to think about. But with that, thank you so much for coming on, bro. I truly appreciate the time, man. We'll definitely get another episode in. Thanks for taking your time away from your family. Thanks for making the time for the episode, and we are out of here.
All love, brother.
All right, thanks a lot, brother.